Welcome to another Killjoy guide. My name is Keeoh, I'm a content creator for Cloud9, I'm currently Immortal 3, and I mainly play Killjoy. If you are in a game right now, this video is timestamped. You can jump to whatever map you're on, learn how I would play it on attack, and then jump back into your game. However, if you are not in a game, I would recommend watching this video to its entirety because I'm going to give a lot of general Killjoy tips while I'm explaining all of my setups that is going to be really applicable to your general playstyle. If you are new to the channel and you enjoy Valorant or Killjoy content, please consider subscribing. I have a lot of fun ideas in the works right now, and I'd love for you to see them. Also, if you want to see me play live, I stream at twitch.tv/Keeoh pretty much every day in the evenings PST, and I'd love to meet you. Alright, with that said, let's jump into the first map. For the first map, we are on ASCENT. So generally, when we're taking A site, I like to use an alarm bot somewhere around here while we're pushing in. Because of the Killjoy changes, your utility is only active if you're within 40 meters. So you still want to use things to cover your flanks. As a general rule of thumb, you kind of want to just place your utility behind you as you're going in on pretty much any site. So I put an alarm bot there, and then sometimes after I plant the bomb, I'll use my turret somewhere like up here aggressively, so that's just watching a couple different angles. So Killjoy really changed a lot in this last update. For attack, you used to prioritize covering your flanks, and now you mainly want to try to lock down a site for post-plant on attack. Meaning that after you plant the bomb, your goal is to just make sure that you're covering all the entrances so that your team isn't going to be peeked unexpectedly by somebody. So your main concern as Killjoy should probably be if they're going to come through A main. So at least having an alarm bot or a turret somewhere like up here is a really good idea, just because you want to make sure that your team is not going to be flanked, because that's how people expect you to play Killjoy. Obviously, this would change if you're in like a super high communication team, but in online ranked, your job is still going to be covering flanks, but it's a lot harder to do that with the recent changes. A couple good spots to put your utility down for flank is an alarm bot somewhere around here, or having a turret somewhere around there. Even having a turret right here is a pretty good spot, because the closer you are to a site, the better, because then there's a less likely chance that you're gonna push out of its range of effectiveness. For A site specifically, there's a couple cool little molly spots that you can put right here. So just look between these two boxes and right click. And then what you can actually do is put an alarm bot post plant up here, so that if anyone comes up through heaven, the alarm bot goes off, and then you can pop this molly at the bottom, and it does a lot of damage through the floor. If you're pushing up through mid, a good turret spot is right here. Turret C at 180 degrees, so this is going to cover right here, right here, right here, and right here. So you're covering a lot of flanks with one turret, and if you're pushing towards A or into mid, the turret's still going to be pretty active for a long time. But say we went mid to B here, as soon as I'm out of range of effectiveness with this turret, I don't want to like hang around and just play off my turret. I'm going to pick it up as I move in, and then place a different thing behind me. Basically, that's your goal. You're kind of leaving a trail of utility behind you as you push into any site. For B site, people used to put their turret up here, which is still a really good turret as it covers right here and right here. But the problem is the turret doesn't reach super far into sight. So making this minor change, flipping it backwards, putting it right here, is still going to cover the same angles if they're pushing into B main, but it gives you a lot more freedom on the site. As you can see, I can be all the way back here in boathouse before I go out of its range of effectiveness. So generally what I like to do for B site is put an alarm bot on lane right here, pair it with a molly, and then I have a turret watching B main. So basically I'm covering 3 options for them to push in. B main, we're gonna know, okay, if one of my teammates is playing somewhere like on logs or towards market, we'll know if somebody's gonna flank through B main, which is really important to have your turret up there. If your turret does go down, a good spot to put it is right on top of these boxes. Again, turret's seen 180 degrees, so it's covering here and here. And alongside your alarm bot and molly, this basically means you only have to watch this one angle and then flick over to pop your molly if somebody does hit your alarm bot. Again, the way that Killjoy is played has just changed so much, so you anchoring down a site is super important. Basically, just try to use your utility every round if you do manage to get a site. This ultimate spot has become a lot more popular recently, but you can put your Killjoy ultimate on top of this lamp right here by just jumping and slapping it down. It is becoming a lot more common, so I have seen at high elo a Sova shock dart hit this and break it, which is kind of a bummer. But it is pretty good if people don't expect it, and it covers all of site. If you do have site control and the bomb down, and you want to use your ultimate, a good spot to do it is right around here, because it's really hard to wallbang. As you guys, I'm sure have seen, this wall is all completely wallbangable, but the closer you get to that wall, the harder it is to wallbang. Alright, that is it for ASCENT. Let's move on to the next map. For the second map, we are on bind. On pistol round, your turret is really good aggressively. So putting your turret down like right here, a lot of people like to peek out of hookah right here. So having your turret out right when the round starts is really good, just to get a little bit more chip damage out on them and lower their health. Same thing on A site, your turret's really good aggressively, so putting it up here on a pistol round is really good to just kind of clear close, do a little bit of chip damage, and even if they start shooting it, you can just pull it back and you'll have it in 10 seconds. I'm gonna show you a couple little aggressive spots that I like to put my turret down. First off is right here. This is just going to cover the flank behind you. Another good spot is, if you've already taken sight, is throwing your turret up here. And then generally, I like to throw my alarm bot in U-Haul just because this covers one of your options. And then you only have a couple different angles you need to hold. If you have the bomb, I'd recommend trying to get your alarm bot down first before you start planting the bomb here, because oftentimes that is where somebody will swing from and try to kill the planter. So I think it's really important to get your alarm bot down first. I'm really guilty of this. I forget to put my alarm bot down first all the time, and that does get me killed here and there. So I think it's really important to get your utility down as quick as possible before you start planning. Obviously, that's not necessary if you have a teammate that has pushed through U-Haul, but I think that goes without saying. When I'm pushing B with my ultimate, I like to put a turret right here. Again, this is just really close to the point, and it's going to see the flanks behind us, and we'll obviously hear if they teleport. So if you put your turret behind you there, you put your ultimate down here, you're able to play all the way up into here pretty much before your turret goes out of range. So the only time your turret goes down is when you start planting the bomb, but then after that you should probably go towards long anyway, because this map is really good for molly lineups. So generally playing towards long with your turret watching an angle is really good. And then you can just use your alarm bot somewhere to cover an angle for a teammate. So you could throw it into the elbow, you could throw it towards CT, and it'll still be effective as long as you're somewhere between long and garden. You can't really go wrong with where you put your other utility down on site. Somebody's probably going to push into it, so I wouldn't try to overthink it too much. This is a really good molly lineup for default. I'm not going to go over every molly lineup that I know, because I have a different video for all of that, but this one is really good. Just stand in this back corner, look at the trees here, and it lands right on default. So I've won countless rounds using this lineup, pushing up and then killing in, 1v3, 1v2 situations. So that is a really, really strong lineup, and I recommend using it. All right, I think that's it for bind. Let's go ahead and hop on to the next map. We're here on Haven. You can actually play the beginning of this round pretty similar to how you would play before the changes. You can put a turret up here. This just covers if they push C long and if they push A. This map isn't crazy big, so you can do a lot of very similar things that you used to do with KILLJOY before the changes. So you just have to move your turret from, instead of being here is where it used to be, you want to put it basically like right here if you're pushing A. This is just going to cover your flank pretty well. And if it goes down, you just know somebody's flanking. And again, this gives you a lot of control of sight. You could push all the way up here. You could play long. You can even plant and your turret is still active. So that is probably my favorite turret spot for pushing A site. And then generally, I put an alarm bot down towards CT. But really, you can put the alarm bot wherever you want. You could put it for if they drop out of heaven or if they've already pushed out of CT. Again, I wouldn't try to overthink it too much. If you're taking A site and your turret's down, put an ultimate right here. This is probably the best ultimate for the entire map, as it clears most of heaven. You could also throw a molly in the one spot that they are in where they wouldn't be detained, and then you pretty much have cleared the entire site. You get a plant for free, so that's a really good ultimate spot. If you take B site, be sure to throw an alarm bot outside of garage. I can't stress this enough. How often does somebody push out a garage when the bomb is planted right here? Pretty freaking often. So I would recommend putting an alarm bot down to watch that. And then you can even put a turret like this just to watch window if they push out a window. This ultimate isn't utilized a lot, but if you're going B, putting it down right in this corner is very good. Especially if you have a brimstone or an omen to smoke off both sides, you're going to be pretty much completely safe. Even if you just smoke off this side, you're going to be really safe to plant. That's always a good ultimate. And then for C site, you can either put your alarm bot like you would normally do, put it right here, or you can put a turret right here. Again, the closer to the site, the better. So putting it up on this box is a little important, just because that's going to give you just a little bit more range to push through the site. Both of those are up while you're planning, so you don't have to worry about them going out of range for any time. That does mean you have to play towards long or garage. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend having them both there. Just have one or the other, and then use your other one. Either have your alarm bot towards CT or garage, and then you can put your turret somewhere like this. This just lets you know if they push out of CT, and you could even swing off of it if you wanted to, which is pretty good for distracting people for free kills. All right, I think that's it for Haven. Again, just as you're pushing in, put your turret or your alarm bot behind you, and then save the other one for an aggressive angle, and you should be good. Cool, let's go on to the next map. All right, we're here on Split, and I'm gonna show you one of my favorite ways to take A site. So push with your team, obviously make sure nobody's on ramp here. Put a turret down right here. This covers the sewer entrance, and it covers A ramp. If you have your ultimate, you can put this down. But if not, this is still a really good take without it. Have your smoke character, so Omen or Brimstone, smoke off screens and heaven. You can put an alarm bot down towards screens, throw a molly towards there to pair with it, and then you pretty much have full site control as long as you've cleared it. And the only way they can come out without hitting any of your utility is through heaven. That is absolutely one of my favorite ways to take A site. And again, that works with or without your ultimate. If you're pushing through mid, it's important to make sure that your team is not going to get flanked through vents or through sewers or market. So what I like to do is put my alarm bot towards vents, and then I put my turret in this corner right here. It doesn't work right in that corner for some reason, but that's fine. You can just step it out a little bit. This way, it covers if they're pushed through vents or through mid. So if your team's all the way up in A heaven and the alarm bot doesn't go off, but you still get flanked from somebody that pushed through like B main garage or whatever, you're not gonna get flanked by them without you knowing it. And then by the time you're in here, you can pull up your alarm bot because you're probably not gonna get flanked from vents here. And then you can put your alarm bot here towards stairs, or you can put it towards CT.
Placing alarm bot.
Again, I wouldn't really worry too much. Just make sure you try to put it down in an effective angle and try not to overthink it. If you're pushing through B main, your main concern is just going to be making sure that you don't get flanked from market. So put a turret down right here. Again, the closer to the site, the better. This is a really good turret because you can pretty much be anywhere on site and your turret is still effective. So putting your turret down there, watching flanks, putting your alarm bot towards CT or towards heaven. Generally, when I use my ultimate towards B site, I actually tell the entire team to go and take A slowly. And then you can fake B site really easily by just putting your ultimate down. And then if they have a Cypher or a Killjoy putting through here, you just basically start shooting a ton, break a bunch of tripwires, you know, shoot a turret that's up there, maybe kill somebody towards heaven. Pretty much their entire team is going to be rotated towards B, even if it's just you making noise like that, which gives the rest of your team A site for completely free. And then you can back out and join them on site. Obviously, this ultimate is still really good to take B site, so you can fake it or you can not. Whatever you want to do. On pistol rounds, make sure to use your turret pretty aggressively. So if you're just taking mid together on pistol round, put a turret right here. Even if it just hits somebody one time, that's, you know, 16 damage that you walk away with for free. And on a pistol round, that can mean the difference. All right, I think that's it for Split. Let's jump into the next map. All right, here we are on the last map, ICEBOX. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. This is my least favorite map to play Killjoy on with the new changes. This map is massive. And since your utility is only useful within 40 meters, it's very hard to get use out of them all the time without there being like a big window of it being down. So you can never really be too sure if somebody isn't flanking you. But with that said, there are a couple good turret spots and alarm bot spots to push through your site. Generally, you just want to use your turret to cover your flank. So if you're pushing an A, this is a pretty good turret to make sure that you're not going to get flanked through A. This is just going to watch here and here, and it goes pretty far into sight. The only problem is it does kind of run out of range right here. So if you're the person planning, your turret will go down for a second, and that's kind of sketchy because if they do manage to walk past that turret in that time frame, they can really sneak up on your team. But yeah, generally having your turret up to watch a flank and then putting your alarm bot aggressively in some site is going to be really helpful. So just putting it towards CT or putting it up to heaven is going to be a really good idea. I've shown this in a couple videos and this molly spot makes people very angry. You can put a molly if you just line up right at this little bottom part of the box and crouch.
Placing swarm grenade.
It lands inside the box. This molly is wallbangable, so if this happens to you, you can wallbang it. It's not hard to wallbang. But the problem is, people just don't know what to do. They're just like, it's a glitched molly, and they get really mad. It's brutal for post-plan. You can actually throw both of your mollies in there, and generally, they're both gonna still be up. So, you just have time, pop one, then let them get back on the bomb, pop another one, and it's a lovely day. I really don't play Killjoy too much on this map, so if you have any better setups, I'd love to hear them. So please comment on this video if you have some more aggressive Killjoy setups. If you're pushing through mid, a good turret to have is just somewhere like right here or right here. This just makes sure that you're not going to get flanked from either A or B site. Again, this map is massive and you will probably get flanked the majority of your rounds. This is one of the few good turret spots to put your turret down to cover a flank. This is just gonna see if anyone pushes up behind you. So this is a really, really good spot. This is actually within that range where you can still go and plant the bomb and pretty much be anywhere on site while still having your turret active within 40 meters. And then just putting your alarm bot somewhere on site. I've actually been putting my alarm bot somewhere around here generally, just because this is normally where people plant. So if you have your alarm bot right here, it just lets you know if somebody is nearby, and then most of the time, a couple of your teammates are playing right around here, and then you can swing and kill the guy that's hit by the alarm bot or distracted by it. There aren't a lot of good ultimate spots to take B site just because there's still so many different angles they can be in. You could put it right here, but again, they can still be standing back here. They can be in towards mid. The thing is, though, it does cover all of site and most of kitchen, so they're not going to be able to peek you and kill you while you're planting. So that is a good way to confirm a plant, but it's not really good for post-plant. This is probably one of the best ultimates in the game. Once you have control of this part, which generally is pretty free, nobody really plays here or here, so putting your ultimate down right here, pushing together with your team is really good, as this covers just so much of the site. This pretty much guarantees you a plant, at least, as long as they don't have a brimstone or a Sova ult to counter your ultimate. Alright, I think that's it for this map and this video. Again, if you have any different turret spots for any map or alarm bot spots that you want to share with me, please leave a comment below or show me a video or something. I'd love to see it. If you enjoyed this content, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.